Newsdesk with the very latest updates from Kenya and beyond. Of course, a crucial day here for teachers as all eyes are at the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court is just about to rule on whether the teachers will get a pay increase or not. My name is Ian Ofula, and these are the stories making headlines at this hour. It is make or break for teachers and the employer as Supreme Court rules on the disputed pay package. Government appeals a court decision to free a suspected poacher. And it's rush against time as Tanzania's presidential candidates hit the campaign trail. Welcome to the program. Now, the Supreme Court is today expected to deliver judgment on whether teachers will be given a salary increase as awarded by the Labour Court 2 months ago or not. The Teacher Service Commission went to the court to contest the Court of Appeal decision, confirming that the Labour Court's ruling. The government says it has no money to effect the directive, while teachers' union representatives say they must get their dues. The union leaders have threatened to call for strike irrespective of the ruling to push for the pay hike. The Labour Court granted a 50 to 60% increase. Elsewhere, days after Mombasa Court released Fausal Mohammed, the state has now moved to High Court to yet again annul the bond. Under certificate of urgency, lawyer Alexander Muteti from the Office of the Public Prosecutor argued that the Magistrates Court cannot overrule a High Court's ruling, which had ordered the suspect to remain in custody as the case continues. He argues that the ruling will set bad precedents where a lower court can overrule a higher court. However, lawyer Gikandi Ngwibini, representing Mohammed, argued that the Magistrate Court reached the decision to release the suspect on bond after listening to 9 witnesses. High Court Judge Martin Muya is expected to rule over the matter this afternoon. Fausal Mohammed, who is the key suspect of ivory trade, is linked with over 300 pieces of elephant tusks found last year hidden in Tudor area of Mombasa. He is also on the list of Interpol's 9 most wanted suspects linked to wildlife crime.
We will also be urging that that court has no jurisdiction to entertain a matter of a constitutional nature, such as the right to bail, because that's a constitutional question, once the High Court has pronounced itself.
My Lord, from the evidence that has been so far had, although I cannot now discuss that here, it will not be fair, my Lord, legally there is no evidence against accused number 6. And my Lord, the question must be, why would that kind of a person continue being punished?
And there are growing concerns among human rights activists that the mysterious disappearance and possible murder of mostly young Muslim men remain unsolved. Just yesterday, 3 bodies were found dumped in a river in Murang'a, and 2 others, and the 2 bodies are yet to be identified. And as I prepared this report, the incidences have sparked debate over suspected extrajudicial killings. This was a small electronic shop belonging to Fausal Mohammed Bari and his family. From phones, accessories to money transfer services, the shop made just enough for them. And as basic as it was, Hamza decided to fit in CCTV cameras for security purposes. Little did he know that they would capture the moments when he was last seen until his family finds him, as he is still missing. It was a day just like any other. Hamza and his colleague were at the shop. after the Garissa University attack, and security agencies were conducting major operations in the town.
Wakati nilikosa gari, sikusimama. I wanted to confirm whether those guys were from the police department. Nilienda direct kwa police station na nikaambiwa hakuna kitu. Hapo niliandika statement.
It has been 5 months now since Fausal Mohammed Bari disappeared. The family now drained emotionally, physically and financially as they try to unravel his whereabouts. Even the announcement that bodies of 3 men of the Somali community were found in a river in Murang'a Saturday had lifted up their spirits. But after identification, none of the bodies was Hamza's. One of the 3 bodies was identified to be that of Abdiaziz Yusuf from Mandera. Quite a somber mood when his family showed up at the County Council of Murang'a funeral home to pick his body. Yusuf, just like Hamza, had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Cases of disappearances of individuals, mostly from the Somali community, have been reported to be on the rise since the Garissa University attack, and now human rights activist Alamin Kimathi says the government should speed up investigations into the incidences and end the suffering of their families and relatives.
Our appeal is to the government of the Republic of Kenya to probe, to investigate this, but because they are bringing out a lot of resentment within the society. The bodies, without a doubt, belong to male Muslim young men who believe are targets of the state in this campaign against violent extremism and veering towards terrorism.
The government has been accused of carrying out extrajudicial killings, mostly linked to such disappearances, but President Uhuru Kenyatta has over time stood firm, denying any such claims while stating that his government does not support such injustices.
This government is going to be very firm on those issues that are terrorism related. We have seen the damage that terrorism causes to our nation, and we will not in any way compromise the security of millions of innocent Kenyans who are being targeted by a specific view. But at the end of the day, that's said and done, it must be done in a manner that conforms to the norms of normal human rights and to ensure that no abuses take place. But I have not heard of any confirmation, save for the rumors and the accusations that have been put out there.
Enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings are crimes against humanity. And we are not saying that this has happened, but there is evidence of the probability of this having happened, and we can only do this if a just process of verification and a process of investigation is done.
The stories of Fausal Mohammed Bari and other missing persons have prompted online campaigns such as the Stop Enforced Disappearances aimed at addressing the ongoing mystery. Ian Wafula, KTN News.
And to a similar story, earlier today, police summoned a suspect at the Pangani police station to record statements to his alleged links to a terror group. Wajir West Member of Parliament Ora Ahmed and human rights activist Alamin Kimathi accompanied the suspect to Pangani police station. According to them, police are misusing their powers and are harassing innocent civilians in the name of fighting terror. They also accuse the security apparatus of disappearances and unlawful arrest of terror suspects.
Investigations, we are not there to do that. We are there actually to support the police in carrying out the investigations at any time to ensure that the community responds to the police favorably, but also that therefore the police do not engage in excesses or extrajudicial activity.
And let's just cross borders a bit to neighboring Tanzania, where campaigning for presidential elections in the country has begun with a race seen as the tightest in East Africa's nation's history. The ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party launched its campaign for the October 25th polls with a massive rally at the economic capital of Dar es Salaam, with its candidate promising to put an end to rampant corruption.
CCM has dominated politics since modern Tanzania was formed in 1964 and currently has 2/3 of seats in parliament.
Ninaitwa John Pombe Joseph Magufuli.
54-year-old John Magufuli hopes to succeed President Jakaya Kikwete, whose second term is expiring. Magufuli is the former works minister. The country's four main opposition parties have chosen ex-Prime Minister Edward Lowassa as their joint presidential candidate.
Nina hari, nina shauku, na nina uwezo wa kuongoza Tanzania.
Lowassa defected last month from the CCM. 51-year-old Lowassa was the East African country's prime minister between 2005 and 2008. He had tried to win the CCM nomination and was widely seen as a front-runner among 42 candidates, but he lost out to Magufuli. The CCM is also seen as having been weakened by internal splits and a string of graft scandals. With over 50 million people, Tanzania is East Africa's most populous country, with economic growth of more than 7%, according to the World Bank. Despite advances, the country remains very poor by regional and international standards. The World Bank says, with agriculture, the key sector, providing a quarter of gross domestic product and employing 3/4 of the population. Elemanjiro, KTN News.
And back in the country, former Chief Registrar of Judiciary Gladys Boschule this morning appeared before the Nairobi Chief Magistrate Court to take a plea over abuse of office charges preferred against her. Shule, who is charged alongside 6 others, is facing accusation of abuse of office and flouting procurement procedures in purchase of a residence for the Chief Justice. She denied all allegations and was released on a 600,000 shillings cash bail. The court will set a hearing date for the case on the 7th of September.
Please note that the charge sheet is public record and is available to you. It does not charge me with stealing money. In fact, it does not charge me with engaging in any corrupt activity or receiving any bribe whatsoever. To put it simply, I'm being charged with 1, failure to plan, 2, improperly conferring benefits by signing a contract, 3, failure to ensure that government funds were used in an efficient, economical and transparent manner. This charge, like all the others, cannot and do not amount to anti-corruption or economic crimes, but it is designed to keep me in the courts and for political persecution purposes. As accounting officer, my role was to execute contracts. It was the job that I was hired to do by Kenyans. If it was a crime, all accounting officers in government who signed contracts after tender award would all be in jail. But I leave those trumped-up charges in the hands of my very able lawyers. And please note, I'm not trying to defend myself against accusations of graft. What I'm saying is there is actually no accusation of any graft against me. So why is Gladys Boschule today in court? That is the big question, and that is what we must continue to try and make clear. I am in court because of politics. I am in court because I stepped on the toes, and some people are determined to fix me.
Kenya Medical Pharmacists and Dentists Union National Chairperson Samuel Oroko is now fearing for his life, saying that he has received death threats from Thursday last week. The chairperson says that he has received calls from 2 different phone numbers, with the callers threatening to chop off his head. Oroko says the threats are connected to the health workers strike that has now spread countrywide, noting that the callers issuing threats keep referring to him being at the forefront in the health workers strike. He says he has recorded statements with the police and now wants the government to take a quick intervention concerning the threats.
Since Thursday last week, I've been receiving death threats from a number to my phone, stating clearly that they have been sent to take off my head. So I want to ask the government of Kenya to provide security for me, because my life is in danger, as I've said. Yeah, they were very clear that they have been told I am the one causing the doctor strikes, and therefore they will eliminate my life. They didn't tell me to stop. They just said that they are coming for my life. Yes.
It fit to put this in the public domain. As we know, in Kenya, we don't take death threats lightly. We have seen assassinations going on because of the various political stands people have, and also because of the action people take at times. And we, as the doctors of Nakuru, the doctors of the South Rift, we stand with our chairman. We are telling him to stand firm.
We just want to cross over to Nakuru, where reporter Kamcha Menza is on standby. Of course, the latest series of strike emerged from Nakuru County. Menza, what's the latest on this particular story?
Thank you so much, Ian. It's clear that Samuel Oroko, who is the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentist Union, is the national chair, and in Nakuru County, that's where we had the first strike, the whole country. And at the moment, Samuel Oroko is at the police station recording another statement. He says ever since he started receiving the messages or the phone calls, that is on Thursday evening, he has been recording statement and forwarding the information to the police officers as well as the CID. And this afternoon we're meant to have a live interview with him, but he is still at the police station recording another statement, because he says even yesterday he received a call, and he says the callers keep calling him like twice a day and giving him the threats. So he says he's currently psychologically tortured, and he's looking for protection or security from the police at the moment. Ian.
Well, Menza, Oroko says that he has continued to receive these death threats, and he's recorded statements at the police. Are they doing anything perhaps in terms of maybe tracing these callers?
Ian, this morning is when we had a press briefing with the doctors union, and because he started receiving the threats since last Thursday, but this morning is when they came out officially and in the public to say that these threats are becoming too much, and the callers are persistent on their threats. And we were meant to have an interview with the OCPD Nakuru County, Bernard Kioko, to tell us how far they've gone with their tracing of the callers or something of that sort, but we have not had that opportunity, understanding that at the moment they are still working on the doctor's statement. Ian.
And maybe, Menza, before I let you go, kindly just give us an update on how the health situation is in the county. Last week we had, of course, very many patients stranded in hospitals. Is this still the case?
At the moment, Ian, that is not the case. We understand that the doctors went back to their offices last Friday after an agreement was reached, and they signed a return to work formula with the county government. So we understand that they went back on Friday, that is a few days after the nurses also went back to work. At the moment, we talked to some of the doctors there. They say they still not too much work in the hospitals, because it's like patients or the public is still not aware about the doctors' return to hospital. So patients are being treated and the doctors are back, nurses are back, so the health is currently well, Ian.
Thank you very much. That is Kamcha Menza just giving us an update where the Kenya Medical Pharmacists and Dentist Union National Chair Samuel Oroko is now fearing for his life. This is because he says he has been at the forefront of trying to push for the rights of health workers in the county. Welcome back to the program. Just a recap of our top story expected to happen just in a few minutes. The Supreme Court is expected to deliver judgment on whether teachers will be given a salary increase as awarded by the Labour Court 2 months ago or not. The Teacher Service Commission went to court to contest the Court of Appeal decision confirming the Labour Court's ruling. Of course, this is just happening at the top of the hour, which is at around 2 p.m. where, among others, Chief Justice William Mutunga will be making that particular ruling. Let's go to other stories making the headline at this hour. As the people of Mogadishu are mourning the death of at least 21 people in 2 separate suicide car attacks, residents of Dinso, one of the towns liberated recently by the AMISOM forces, were celebrating their newly found freedom. Here is that story.
In Baidoa, one of Somalia's biggest food baskets, celebrating Al-Shabaab's defeat. Dinsur was captured by AMISOM forces 2 days after the liberation of Badere town, and the soldiers are here for a fact-finding mission to gauge the mood in the town after the ouster of the militants who have been in charge of the town for more than 8 years. Dinsur was a lifeline for the Al-Shabaab, as it was one of the remaining strategic places where they got their financial proceeds. It was also a major operation base. The Somali government is now working on ensuring the provision of basic social services return to normalcy. As the residents of Dinsur were celebrating, at least 21 people were killed in Somalia in separate attacks. The first attack at Kisimayu University, which is being used as a base for training government troops, was launched as soldiers were lining up for training. The second bomb exploded in the capital Mogadishu at a busy junction in the evening, killing 5 and injuring 7 other people.
Well, and that story brings us to a close for our viewers on KTN Home, but Newsdesk continues on KTN News. Remember, our Twitter handle is KTN News. Remember, do tell us what is happening around you, and we shall be glad to tell the rest of the world. This is KTN News, of course, with the very latest headlines from Kenya and beyond. My name is Ian Wafula.